Hello, everyone. Ooh. Today we have a guest pianist. We have Alejandro Matamoros, who is he is a piano master student at Cal State Fullerton in Fullerton, California, and he's also one of Laura's former students. Uh, Cal State Fullerton. Yeah. So he will be here for this Sunday and next Sunday as Laura is at Idlewild teaching. So she will be back on the 19th. But
grandson graduated from Cal State.
Fullerton?
Oh, Cal State.
Good morning, church. Somewhere, wherever, for you old timers, Joan Small is smiling because she was a ragtime aficionado. All right, Kathy. All right. Welcome, pardon me. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces. We welcome those of you who are in the sanctuary this morning or joining us online. It is a joy to be together in worship. I'm Haney Pearson, your service associate for this service. My pronouns are he and him. We share visual descriptions of ourselves to help ensure everyone, including people with low or no vision, can fully participate. I'm an average height, just about 200-pound black man. I would say brown skin, but black people, especially in the mid-Atlantic region where I'm from, when we say someone is brown skin, they have a particular shade in mind. I'm not that shade. If you think about your tan shoes, all right, that's closer to what I am, all right? I'm wearing a green suit and shirt, a gray tie that looks green with the suit and shirt, and green reptilian leather shoes. My wife tells me that there is absolutely no more brown left in my hair. It is all either light gray or dark gray, and that's me. A warm welcome to all our guests, whether this is your first visit or some of you, your 1,000th. You are part of this beloved community. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you're from, whatever your life circumstances, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, document status, or spiritual path, you fit in here. Your story matters. Your presence is a gift. If you are new here, welcome. Please raise your hand and keep it raised until our greeters reach you. They would like to give you a small gift. Please also fill out the visitor card located in front of you somewhere behind the chair in front of you. You are invited to join us after the service at coffee hour. We would love to get to know you and allow you time to get to know us. If you have additional questions, join us in the lobby by the metal art piece right after service. As we enter into this time of worship, lean into the joy, music, and movement of this multi-generational space.
Dad meant to ask all y'all to silence your cell phones if you haven't already. Now it's my turn to say good morning. Morning. My name is Micah Pearson. I'm your service leader. My pronouns are he and him. My visual description is I'm not even the same shade of brown as Dad. I'm a lot lighter than that. I'm almost translucent. So they want me closer to the microphone, but I was about to give my visual description. So I'm wearing an Irish pub hat. That is my go-to. I did have a slightly unironed dress shirt because the vest was supposed to stay closed, but apparently I put on some weight. So I'm wearing blue jeans, and since I am giving the homily today, the traditional mismatched socks. So we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. And to bring us towards a place of wholeness, I'm going to read an invocation that was for a different service written by Viola Abbott. but the message is the same. We're also paraphrasing slightly because we're going to insert something near the end. We are Unitarian Universalists. When we lift up our 7 principles, some of us think of them as a form of theology. But they are more important to our collective than that. They do not tell us what we should believe, they tell us how we should be. They tell us how we should act in the larger world and with each other. We are brought here today by the fact that Unitarian Universalism has fallen short of the image that was presented to the world and to many of those who embraced this religion. But we are also brought here today by the truth that Unitarian Universalism has shifted course to move towards a place of wholeness, a place that perhaps never existed for us in a denomination. It has been a long and sometimes unforgiving road to today, but we are here today because we are mindful of that past and because we have a hope for the future. We want to practice this faith to be a fulfilling manifestation of its promise. So we ask, open your hearts and seek new ways of understanding. I'm also going to give a content warning. There will be discussion of sexual abuse in communities later, not direct descriptions of actions or victimhood, but its impact on a community. Feel free to stick around up until that point because we will give you a heads up when we're going to talk about it. Okay? So until then, if you do need to step out, we'll also give you time for that too, so that we don't traumatize anybody. So come, let us worship together.
Good morning, church. I am Eric Ramirez. I serve as the director of music for the church. My pronouns are he, him, and él. I am a brown, 5'9" Puerto Rican gay man. I guess I'm another shade of brown from the... in Spanish, I would say I'm trigueño, which is... Alyssa, what does trigueño mean?
Light brown.
Light brown. I am wheat colored. I have black hair, shaved short on the sides, that is graying and leaving me ever so slowly. I have a black shirt, long sleeve shirt, green pants, and black shoes. We are going to start our gathering with the meditation on breathing. Do you all know the meditation on breathing? So there are 3 parts to the meditation on breathing. There is the, when I breathe in peace. Okay, all of that. There's the other part, breathe in, breathe out, that. And then there's the soprano one, when I breathe in, I will breathe in peace. Okay, I'm only gonna do the melody, y'all, okay? If you so feel as doing the other parts, you may. So let's sing together the meditation in breathing. Sit. I don't want you to stand. I want you to breathe. Okay? Together. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe in love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we light a chalice as a symbol of our shared faith and community. As Micah lights our chalice here in the sanctuary, we invite you to joining us online to share in the chat where you are lighting yours. This chalice lighting was written by Peter Teets. I can't swear that it is the Peter B. Teets, who was involved in government a few years back. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, and to uphold the spirit of freedom. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in the saying of our church's affirmation of covenant and remain standing for the doxology in English and in Spanish. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to him that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. Hey.
Good morning, church. My name is Kelly Ingram, and I am your Director of Religious Education. My pronouns are she and her. I am a 5'3" mixed race brown skin woman. It depends on what time of year. I have longish black and silver hair that is worn down today. I have on glasses. I have a blue dress with stars all over it. Stars are my favorite shape. I always teach the RE kids how to sign star. And my lanyard with keys to the RE building and plethora of pins. Okay. This morning, I am adapting the story Kindness Makes You Stronger by Sophie Beer. Kindness makes you stronger. Niceness makes you happy. Kindness is saying hello. And if you're not feeling up to it, it's okay not to say hi back. Kindness is being patient, which can sometimes cause frustration, and that's acceptable too. Kindness is helping, but remembering not to give more than you have for yourself. Kindness is cheering at the finish line. It can also look like dressing up, making posters, and cheering from your couch. Kindness is trading treats. It's also nice to keep your favorites for yourself. Kindness is giving a boost up, or even better, keeping a stool handy. Kindness is taking turns, while playing by yourself causes less arguments. Kindness is sharing. However, keeping what you've worked hard for is perfectly acceptable. Kindness is offering comfort. Don't forget to show up for yourself, too. Kindness is visiting, if you have the energy for it. Kindness is reaching out to people. However, if the anxiety and dread of talking on the phone stresses you out, letters are nice, too. Kindness is what makes us strong. Being nice to ourselves is what makes us strong enough to be kind. Thank you. We will do 2 rounds of the children's blessing for any and all youths that would like to follow me out of these doors to the RE building. I would like to point out that during this holiday, my child is the only kiddo who showed up to church today. Thank you all.
As we enter this quiet moment together, I invite you to pause and take a steady, gentle breath in and out. Let your breath anchor you here and now in this circle of care. This is a time to honor the fullness of life, the joys that lift our hearts, the sorrows that weigh heavily, the questions we carry quietly inside. Whatever you bring this morning, know this: you are not alone. You are held here. In the wider world, we hold those who journey through grief and uncertainty. Federal workers facing job loss and instability, immigrants seeking safety, trans and non-binary beloveds, women and people of color, those living with illness or disability, confronting injustice. We hold up all who live under the shadow of war and violence. May peace, however fragile, find a way. We honor their courage. We carry them in love. In this gathered community, we take a sacred pause to share what rests on our hearts. This time is set apart for lifting up your joys, honoring our sorrows, and marking the milestones of our lives. It is not a space for announcements or political messages, but for the truths that move us. Are there joys, sorrows, milestones among us that we would briefly share this morning? You are invited to raise your hand and to have a microphone brought to you by himself.
Good morning. My name is Jan Thompson. It weighs heavily on my heart. My immigrant son from Pakistan, Muhammad Hafiz, many of you met him at my birthday party. He was to have his final asylum hearing July 9th, and his judge was fired by Trump. And so he has to be assigned another judge. This one took 1.5 years to get him scheduled. Now the workloads are even heavier. So he has a work authorization, but having asylum allows him to apply for a green card and put him in a much, much safer position. So if there weren't enough reasons to abhor this administration, I have another. I have a joy, however, that yesterday morning I was joined by over 30 people out on Loman celebrating the Declaration of Interdependence, as you use.
Good morning, friends. My name is Reed Hartholtz, and at the risk of embarrassing my wife, she starts her new job tomorrow, so joy, milestone. Join me in congratulating Stephanie.
Hi, my name is Allison Neal Wallace. I have a small joy to share. Yesterday we had out in Mesquite at Wannabe Farms the Heart of the Community Festival, celebrating Independence Day, and by calling for independence and freedom globally and reminding us all that none of us are free until all of us are free. And there's someone online too.
Steve Hitchka says hello from Colorado, and that his joy is the temperature's currently 64 degrees Fahrenheit over there. And Ed Long reports as well. He has a joy. He's happy to report that Linda Rushala had a good outcome from her knee replacement surgery and is recuperating at home. Several weeks of physical therapy are ahead, but they'll see us in a few weeks.
I'm Vijay Bala, and one of my grandsons graduated from Caltech in computer science about 3 weeks ago, and believe it or not, he has a job in New York with Jane Street. I did not know what that company was, but if anyone wants to know, see me later with coffee.
I'll place a stone in the water for all the joys and sorrows and milestones that were too personal to share today.
I have a Puebloan prayer for this occasion. Hold on to what is good, even if it is a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it is a tree that stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it's a long way from here. Hold on to your life, even if it's easier to let go. Hold on to my hand, even if someday I'll be gone away from you.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease.
As we gather in this sacred space, we are invited to invest in our church's mission and shared life. The offering we take today and every Sunday is more than financial support. It is a reflection of our commitment to this community and the values we strive to live out: love, justice, welcome, and care. Our church depends on each of us. Your generosity sustains our worship programs, partnerships, and our ability to grow in faith and service. Whether you make a one-time gift, support today's Change for Change partner, or fulfill your annual pledge, every contribution strengthens our community and extends our reach. It's interesting, but this quarter, our Change for Change partner is La Pignon, whose work is to empower people who have been sexually assaulted or abused to move from victims to survivors. Through this partnership, we carry our values beyond these walls. You can give online, by mail, or by placing your gift in the plate. Every gift matters, and every gift makes a difference. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. this is staircase. I don't know. If you want to leave, this would be the time. All right. The phrase missing stair was coined by blogger Cliff Jerrison in a 2012 post on The Provocracy, a blog about bondage and discipline, sadomasochism, and kink. I like the band called the Kinks. Describing a man in his social circle known to be a rapist, Jerrison wrote, and I quote, "People had gotten so used to working around this guy, to accommodating his special requirements, that they didn't feel like there was an urgent problem in their community. They did eventually expel him, but it was after months of it being widely shared knowledge that he was a rapist. I think there were some people in the community who were intentionally protecting him, but there were more who were de facto protecting him by treating him like a missing stair, like something you're so used to working around, you never stop to ask, what if we actually fix this? Eventually, you take it for granted that working around this guy is just a fact of life, and if he hurts someone, that's the fault of whoever didn't apply the workarounds correctly." Jerrison intended the term to apply beyond sexually predatory behavior, including, for example, underperforming colleagues who let others pick up their slack. While missing stair has most often been used in the context of sexual misconduct, it may describe a variety of uncomfortable social or professional circumstances, unquote. The missing stair dynamic is a metaphor for a situation in which a community, workplace, or family accommodates a problematic, abusive, or dangerous person instead of addressing their behavior. Instead of holding the individual accountable, members discreetly warn newcomers about them and silently adapt to the hazard.
I've lived in this community for 15 years, and I've been thinking about this service for 14 years. A lot of times when I prepare for a service or get ready for it, I mentioned before that I write notes sometimes and that I never reference them, but at least I wrote them. This time you are getting 14 years of consideration plus every waking minute of the last 2 weeks. As in, I gave Dad homework for the service. He had to watch an almost 2-hour-long documentary and read a 113-page moral philosophy paper. Why? Well, let's start off with a confession. My name is Micah Pearson, and I'm not a nice person. I'm not. What I try to be is a good person. When I moved here, for those of you who haven't heard the story, when I moved here, there were warrants for my arrest. I was in pretty dire straits. I've lived here 15 years, and I just celebrated 15 years of sobriety. Wonder if those things have anything to do with each other. And as part of AA and any sort of recovery work that you're doing, they expect you at some point to do a fairly ruthless self-assessment. And my self-assessment at the age of 35 was, I'm not a good person. I've hurt a lot of people. I have caused a lot of pain There are people who are probably going to therapists today talking about the things that I did to them 17, 18 years ago. Most importantly, I couldn't look at myself in a mirror. I broke all the ones in my apartment back east. I was not a good person. So I needed to change. And I got involved with work with mental health advocacy, and there was a lot of conversations we were having with people, and I saw that there were systems that could be fixed because, hey, I come from a background of information systems design. But whenever it came down to it, there were always people in the room who would say, you shouldn't say that, or you shouldn't talk about that, you shouldn't bring this up. And I realized that was getting in the way of the work getting done, and I didn't care about the niceties of it. So, confession, I'm not a nice person. I try to be an honest person. The first big moral philosophy argument I ever got into with one of my fellow students in high school was about, there's nothing I will say behind somebody's back that I wouldn't say to their face. Unfortunately, that means there's a lot of things I say to people's faces that other people won't. We literally have a board member on our organization whose job is to be there because half the mental health advocacy community doesn't like me. And it's their job to get along. This is all a very long-winded confession. Preamble, as it were. I'm also going to quote the great philosopher Charles Wade Barkley. I am not a role model. So you know I'm thinking now because I crossed my arms. I talked to Dad and I talked to a lot of people about the concept of the missing stair, and Dad didn't realize that it was a staircase thing, which is why he asked that we define it at the beginning. This is also in some ways a follow-up to this last service that I led here where we talked about our values, and one of those values we mentioned for growth specifically was honesty, ruthless honesty. You have to be able to look at when you were the problem. You have to be able to accept when you were the problem. And during that service, I had a revelation I didn't realize, which is anything you can apply to an individual, you can apply to a community, because a community is made up of individuals. So, if a community wants to grow and be healthy, it has to be willing to take a good, hard, honest look at itself. And what I've looked at and what we've looked at is also realized that Unitarianism is a very nice religion. Everybody there is really nice. And I have a question. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands this time because I want you to internalize it. How many people here think nice and kind are the same thing or operate in the same space? And to those of you who do, I say, bless your heart. Yeah, that got a little chuckle from a couple of people because we know in southern communities especially, the bless your heart dismissal. When the documentary that I asked Dad to look at is one I recommend you all watch. It's called Exposing the Myth of Southern Charm. And it talks at length about the antebellum house tours in this one community and how they often talk about their servants, not their property, not their slaves, but their servants. And they talk about how, well, we were actually really good to our servants. We taught them how to read. And that wasn't allowed, that wasn't legal, but we taught them how to read. Also, why are you talking about this now? This doesn't have any impact on how everybody lives their lives today. So why do you have to bring up all the bad stuff? Except for, of course, for people of color, all of that stuff is happening today and is directly related to the things that happened 250 some plus change years ago. And now I'm going to use Dad's water because my mouth is dry. So, thinking about all this has led me to think a lot about anniversaries. For those of you who don't know, they used to make a big deal out of those of us who were born in 1976. They called us the bicentennial babies. So I was born when the country turned 200. And now, as it's turning 250, I'm somehow turning 40. And the thing that I think about with the anniversaries is the fact that 4th of July is my least favorite day of the year. It is, the explosions and the fireworks ain't great for somebody who lives with PTSD, just giving you a heads up on that one. But also, I'm not a big fan of a day the entire country pulls itself aside and says how great and awesome and wonderful we are. Because for a large swath of the communities, if you were not a wealthy white male, this country has not been super nice to you. And whenever we want to talk about it, anytime we want to raise up our voices about it, there are people who say, now's not the time, now's not the forum, now that is not the way. I don't mind protests, but when they become violent or riots, without ever looking into why that's happening, people condemn it. That's called tone policing. Tone policing is frequently the last vestige of an abuser. At some point, when they realized, oh yeah, we're wrong, we did the wrong thing, they still say, well, you didn't have to be rude about it. That's the last vestige. And for those who don't know, tone policing, I actually do have notes that I'm going to reference. Tone policing is when someone focuses on how a person says something instead of what they are saying. Instead of responding to the fact of the message, they dismiss it because the speaker sounds angry, upset, emotional, or not, quote unquote, nice enough. While it's okay to talk about tone, it becomes a problem when someone's emotions are used as an excuse to ignore or reject what they're saying. Tone policing may marginalize individuals who naturally incorporate diverse linguistic features. Frequent use of filler words such as like and I literally teach a class about don't use filler words because of how much they drive me nuts, but I don't want them to the point of it undercuts your message. Including vocal fry and uptalk in their speech where people always end their sentence in a question. In the realm of social justice, scholars and experts often underscore the significance of emotions such as anger, as they are frequently associated with personal experiences of injustice. Yeah, we're mad. We've had a lot of conversation today about skin tone. And that's because in the black and brown communities, that's actually something important. I am what would have been called a house Negro. I was allowed to work in the house, as long as they didn't know I had a white mother. Otherwise, I would have been executed. So they would have called me black to save my life, and I would have worked in the house, and I would have gotten preferential treatment, which is why, to this day, there is division amongst the light-skinned and black and dark-skinned people in the black community. I am not a nice person. This is an argument that I've had with my folks for years, with other members of my family, because I tend to calls it like I sees it. And one of the things that I see a lot of times is people leaving places and never coming back, and nobody asking why. A number of years back, I wrote a letter that never actually made it to the board, talking about the issues of privilege, both economic and racial, that this congregation struggled with, and why people weren't coming back here. Because for those of you who are relatively newer members or within the last couple of years, I used to have to do what Mike, Allison did from that position right back there. So my job was to look at the congregation the whole time, and I kept seeing who came to visit and who didn't come back. And so when I pointed it out to the congregation, it never actually made it to the congregation, and I turned in my membership. I'm not a member of this church either. So feel free to dismiss what I'm saying because I'm not a member of your church. I've said not time and time again, this church has had trouble with bullying, with people who step over or onto people, show flagrant disregard for their experiences, including mental health and racial experiences. You talk in private with a number of the people in this room right now that I'm looking at. Well, I'm not looking at them because I don't want you to follow my eyes, but number of people I've spoken to in this church who've talked about not feeling welcome in spaces, not feeling respected or heard, openly mocked. And in a couple of cases, there are a couple problematic individuals for whom the community doesn't do anything, not because of the individual, but because they like the person that individual is associated with. That, by definition, is a missing stair. Every community has one. Don't get me wrong. I was the missing stair in my community back east. I was the one that my friends made allotments for. In my drinking days, I was a little bit more vocal about things than I am even now, and I didn't care about the venue. I would walk into somebody's house and say, "This house sucks." And my friends actually had a rule, a written rule that they spread in text. Never let Micah meet new people when he's drunk. Those same people who made that text thread sent me an apology years later when they said, "We all saw you were drunk, we all saw you were an alcoholic, but none of us felt comfortable. We didn't want to break the good vibes by coming up to you and talking to you about it." So instead, I lost relationships, I lost friends, I lost my job, I lost my home. Because my friends were too nice to stand up and say, "Hey, Micah, we think you have a drinking problem." That 113-page paper actually has a really familiar name. It's called, "Is It Always Good to Be Nice?" And it examines nice as a virtue. Nice being the hellos, goodbyes, good days, good things, all that stuff. But also, it presented a wonderful straw man argument. So I recognize the logical fallacy of what I'm about to mention. It is a straw man argument. But it highlights the example. Let's say someone in your life is being chased by Freddy Krueger or Jason, a murderer, coming to get them. You let them stay at your house because that's the kind thing to do. You let them hide in your home because that's the kind thing to do. But then the murderer, because murderers are always so polite to come up and knock on your door, says, "Hey, is Charlie home?" And you say, "Oh yeah," because the nice thing to do would be to say, "Oh yeah, they're right upstairs." Is that the kind thing they did? That again, the most straw man of straw man arguments. I'm not a nice person. I keep saying that. One of the reasons why that can be beneficial to a community, and let me tell you, if everybody looked at nice versus kind the way I do, this would be a miserable community. So we need civility, we need politeness, we need all that stuff. Never more than one or two people who just don't care about that stuff should ever really be in a community if you want peace and harmony. But a lot of people I work with in the mental health community have anxiety disorders, social anxiety specifically. And they always feel guilty for asking me to do something for them. And I say, I never do anything, I never offer anything that I'm not happy to do. And they know, because I'm not nice, that I'm telling the truth. Women, for some reason, can't figure out why, have been told by society that they need to apologize for existing. Every other word coming out of their mouth is, "I'm sorry." That happens a lot. That's how our society treats people. Women frequently, pay attention, guys, if you haven't noticed it, women will apologize a lot because society has told them that they need to apologize for breathing. But I'm not a nice person, so I make it very clear to you, I'll tell you when you owe me an apology, which is a gift that I gave to my sister. Forgive me for saying so, but calling out to Gabby, it is Gabrielle, sorry, I'm sorry. Because these are folks who feel that the world isn't friendly or honest or trustworthy. But I never do anything that I'm physically incapable of doing something I don't like to. It's actually part of the ADHD diagnosis. And I will tell you when you owe me an apology. So don't apologize to me unless I say so. These are little things that we can do for our loved ones that aren't nice, but they are kind, because it helps build a foundation of trust. Other things that we can do that aren't nice but are kind is address the problematic behavior of people in the church. Because we are a community, and we should be strong enough as a community to call out problematic behaviors, address them, and still be welcoming to both the person who exhibited the problematic behavior that you have addressed and to the people who are mentioning the problem. This goes back a long way. You can find it in a lot of different places. You can find it in our previous relationship and treatment of cups, Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagan Society, for those of you who don't know what CUP stands for. It comes from the treatment of our mental health support groups that we used to facilitate here. It comes from the treatment of mental health here, where I have heard directly people's mental health conditions being openly mocked and dismissed by members of this church. And nobody did anything about it. Nobody said anything about it, because everybody knows that person's a problem. Why deal with it? That was, when I brought it up to somebody, that's literally what I was told. I'm not nice. I get angry, I'm passionate. So do a lot of people in marginalized spaces. We get angry, we get passionate, and we're told that we have to temper that anger and keep that anger because it undercuts the message that we're trying to convey. But instead of focusing on how angry or hurt or upset the person is, maybe take a second to listen to why. That thing I mentioned about tone policing specifically brought up people of color for a reason. Now I am going to ask, how many people here know what Haldol is? Haldol. Haldol is one of the oldest antipsychotics out there. And it was specifically marketed as a treatment when it first hit the market. It was specifically marketed for protest psychosis. Because in the DSM, Diagnostic and Symptoms Manual, version 3, one of the symptoms of psychosis was anger. It was literally just angry. And they put that in there so they could round up civil rights leaders and put them in institutions and prescribe them Haldol. Go back a little further, you have drapetomania, that weird psychosis of not wanting to be a slave. Move forward to today, you have excited delirium syndrome, how people of color keep weirdly dying when they get tased, and it's not their fault. When one can read a clear line from 250 years ago and more to today, with very limited things changing, or everything changing and then being changed back. Say that again, Micah. I will say that again. with, go back to, I don't remember exactly what I said, but the fact that we have to sit here and watch all the things that we fought for and changed and turn around and change back, we are pissed off. Violence is the last language of the unheard. And again, instead of listening to how they're saying something, maybe listen to what they're saying first. I'm supposed to do the benediction now. And I was going to base it off of what I said in the service. Well, closing hymn, cool. I have a few minutes to think of a benediction. Awesome.
Think about what we're singing.
Thank you.
Person. But I appreciate kindness. I learn from kind people. It helps me be more kind and less nice. Do we know the difference yet? Whew. Our closing hymn. If you would rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, would you sing with me, There Is More Love Somewhere? There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
I remembered the benediction. The benediction is an offer of thanks and gratitude. This is a community that wants to grow and be strong, and it takes courage to look at oneself honestly. And I want to thank you for allowing that moment of breath today, and moving forward, that we continue to grow and be honest with each other. Amen. Thank you. Now I'm extinguishing the flame, because that's there too. You get to put the candle out. Please join me in saying the words to extinguish the flame. They are on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Good morning. Oh, sorry. How's that? Is that better? Yeah, I just wanted to point out a few things for our invitations to engagement, some things that are coming up really starting today. I don't know how many of you had an opportunity to stop at the table outside that Shirley Davis is manning on the Casa de Peregrinos. So the first Sunday of every month, that table is up and available for you to stop and provide a contribution to them. So you can still do that afterwards if you'd like. Again, the second thing is RE is hosting these Maker Days starting this week. So Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout the month of July. They're looking for people to participate on both sides of the coin. Those who have things that they can share with young folks to make, and then of course young folks to come to the camp to participate in learning how to make certain items. Okay, so that's something you can talk to Kelly about if you're interested in being on either side of that coin. The round table also is coming July 13. It's a Monday Starts at, it doesn't have it on here, 6:30. Yes, it does. 6:30 on Monday in this room. It is also available through Zoom. However, we strongly encourage you to come in person, as these are outside speakers that have been willing to come and speak to us about very important things. This one is going to be on the water bankruptcy in our area. So it's critical and pertinent to all of us. And it's kind of disheartening when they come and they prepare this presentation and there's only a few people in the room. So I strongly encourage you to come out on the 13th that night. Okay, and you've already know our quarter has changed, and our new Change for Change is going to be going to La Pignon. Okay? Thank you. That's it.